Have you not been getting as high as you used to, and you heard from somebody that all you gotta do is take a few weeks off, take a tolerance break, few weeks off of smoking, and you're gonna get back to the way things were, and you're gonna get high just like that first time again. But now you're miserable because you're going through withdrawals? Well, weed withdrawals are very real, and they're really terrible if you've ever experienced them. But we're gonna talk about withdrawals. I wanna tell you about the cause, the effect, and maybe a solution if you're going through withdrawals. So the main reason people go through withdrawals is because they were smoking way too much. They were getting to a point where they just weren't getting as high as they normally would. Usually people end up smoking all day and they don't get high, they get medium, and they wonder like, oh, how do I fix this? And the most common solution when you look into this is, oh, take a tolerance break, take a few weeks off, and you're going to be fine. Well, for most people, if you go from using a lot, if you're smoking a lot, especially dabbing's going to ramp up your tolerance, especially the way most people dab when they should be doing a tiny little dab. They're out here doing Globbert De Niro's. So people get into using too much or using it too often. You can't be high all day. We've talked about this before. If you start smoking all day, you're just going to get medium, and that medium's going to get lower and lower the more you smoke. But people just flat out get into a habit of consuming way too much. It's not a habit anymore. It's a crutch, and they're doing it all day. So their whole solution is, boom, I'm just gonna stop smoking and I'm gonna be back to the way it was. Well, what happens when you stop smoking? The withdrawals kick in. For a lot of people, it's terrible after just one day. The first day, in my experience, is not as bad for a lot of people. It really depends on what you're doing that day and how much you truly smoke. But after the first day, the first week is the worst. A lot of people experience a list of terrible symptoms. Some people are just more aggressive. They're more angry than they normally are. They're just way more irritable because they don't have that thing that makes them feel good. Some people are just more nervous than usual. They have a higher anxiety because that was the thing that was keeping them calm all day. Some people experience restlessness when they're awake, and they also have trouble sleeping. This is something that was very true for me anytime I tried to take a tolerance break. I just couldn't sleep. And if I could go to sleep, I would have the night sweats. I would just wake up covered in sweat. I'd be cold. I'd be sweaty. And I'd just be miserable. It was terrible. Insomnia is a big thing, but some people, if they do get to sleep, are going to have crazy dreams. They're going to have wilder dreams than they're used to. I don't know if you know this, but if you smoke a lot, if you're a regular smoker, you probably have less dreams than other people who don't smoke, obviously. But when you go and you quit cold turkey or you get on that tolerance break, the dreams might come back, and they might come back with a vengeance. Like, what the hell, dude? Now, me personally, I have dreams here and there, not often, but if I find myself taking a tolerance break, yeah, I think I do have more dreams or more memorable dreams. But for some people, it's nightmares. It's not dreams, it's nightmares. Also, some people have reported like higher levels of depression, or they're just more sad than they normally are when they're not smoking. And I get it, smoking makes me happy. And some people have other issues like headaches, nausea. I know that I personally had like a loss of appetite. It was hard for me to eat anything. When I took a tolerance break and I wasn't smoking, I wasn't eating. I would get some stuff done, but like I wouldn't be hungry for it while I was eating it. I wasn't like, oh yeah, this is amazing. So you can have some issues with your appetite. So I've talked to a lot of people on this, and everybody's different when they're going through a tolerance break. You're not cleansing your tolerance at the same rate as somebody else who's taking the same amount of time off. 10 different people could take 3 weeks off from smoking, and they're all going to be at a different level of tolerance when they're done with it. Sure, you've probably done a lot of cleansing for the most part. 3 weeks is a long time. But the symptoms from withdrawals they're so bad. They're so terrible, and it's one of the #1 reasons that I recommend not taking a tolerance break. I've made a video called Tolerance Breaks Are a Scam, and I firmly believe it because most people's approach to a tolerance break doesn't fix the root of the problem. They're smoking too often, they're smoking too much, and then they go to smoking nothing, and then after they get their tolerance back or after their tolerance resets, they get right back into the same habits that got them there in the first place. It's like most people, if you take tolerance breaks, like it's a thing that you just do every now and then, and there's really a better way to do it. So this has to do with like just monitoring or managing how much you consume. There's like a certain point where you're just consuming more and it's not getting you higher, it's just making it harder for you to get high the next time that you smoke. Dabbing is wild because for a lot of people, it's easy to do like humongous dabs. It's easier to do like a huge dab than a huge flower rip just because the smoke is harsher and you're going to pack more cannabinoids into a concentrate hit if you're trying to do a big one. So this is why I talk about moderation. Moderation can mean moderating when you smoke or how much that you smoke. So if you follow my content, you know I do most of my smoking after 9 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. I do about a 4 or 5 hour smoke sesh. And for the most part, that's the only time that I smoke. I got it locked down to a little window and it works out well for me. Now, let me just tell you, the amount of people that have taken my advice on tolerance and opened my eyes up to the real root of the problem is actually wild. I've had so many people tell me my tolerance fix worked after 1 day. Think about that for a second. My tolerance fix is, oh, just don't smoke all day. Wait till maybe like 9 p.m. and then just smoke for a few hours. That's my tolerance fix. It's not groundbreaking. It's not revolutionary, but for some people it is. And I've had so many people tell me that it works after 1 day. Think about that. So 1 day means instead of waking up and smoking was the first thing they did. Usually people wake and bake, they smoke after lunch, they smoke before dinner, they smoke after dinner. They're smoking all day. So by the time you get to the end of the day, when you're trying to get high, you can't get high anymore. But I've had an overwhelming amount of people tell me that it works after 1 day. And all they really did was take like an extra 11 or 12 hours off of smoking compared to what they normally do. Most people smoke last thing before they go to sleep, and first thing when they wake up, they only have 8 hours off. That's it. They just take 8 hours off. And the sweet spot, the magic number for most people is like 18 to 20 hours. The amount of people that told me that my tolerance fix worked after 1 day and all they did was take like an extra 12 hours off of smoking shows me that like wake and bakes and smoking throughout the day is the problem for most people. If you're using smoking to get through your work shift, get through your day, and then you're also trying to use it to relax at night, you're making that portion at night where you're trying to relax worse because you're using it as a crutch during the day. So the solution into avoiding withdrawals is just to take control of your smoking. You don't have to stop and take 3 weeks off and do that one rip to get super high again. You can just simply smoke less and smoke less often, and you're not going to experience the withdrawals. So I have a ton of people come into my Twitch chat. Somebody just yesterday was like, oh, I'm day 3 on a tolerance break. I need your help. What should I do? This is so tough. And I always say the same thing. Tolerance breaks are a scam, and you got to learn how to moderate yourself, or you're never going to fix the root of the problem. If you didn't see my video on tolerance breaks being a scam, check out this video. I hope you have a lit day, my dudes. Peace out.